InfoHub. Our top stories. Minister Kemraj Ramchatan confirms Mazaruni prison expansion moving apace. Health Minister and Director of Prisons visit injured prison warden. Region 1 to get potable water and white paper to address drainage forthcoming. Thanks for staying with us. Minister Kemraj Ramchatan today informed InfoHub's Paul McAdam that the Mazaruni prison expansion is moving apace. Here's that report.
The plans to expand the Mazaruni prison's facility were initiated after the completion of the Commission of Inquiry, which followed the fire and deaths of 17 inmates of the Georgetown prisons on March 3, 2016. Minister of Public Security Kemraj Ramchatan informed the DPI today that following this COI, government moved to initiate several of the recommendations. Among these is a planned expansion of the Mazaruni facility. Noting that the 2016 national budget was already passed when the COI was completed, the minister said a request for funds for the project's first phase were approved in this year's budget. These plans will see the foundations for a state-of-the-art modern prison being built on the grounds of the Mazaruni prison. Costing some $278 million, these will entail the construction of solid cast foundations, wall supports and internal structures such as wiring, utilities and other features being built over a one-year period. The new section, which will be adjacent to a part of the existing prison, will also feature high-tech automatic locks, sprinkler systems and forced ventilation. 12 concrete houses are also being built to accommodate prison officers stationed there at a cost of $178 million. Minister Ramchatan explained that this is the first step towards building a maximum security prison which will accommodate 400 prisoners. He added that an engineer from Trinidad with prior experience in constructing similar facilities is a consultant on the project, which will be completed over the coming years. This construction, he says, will ease the problems of overcrowding at other prison facilities across Guyana. Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
Minister Dr. Karen Cummins and Director of Prisons Gladwin Samuels today visited prison warden Hubert Trim at GPHC. Trim was injured during the Georgetown prison fire. Zanil Williams was there and filed this report.
Minister Cummings explained that prison warden Trim has had improvements since the incident on Sunday at the Georgetown prison.
I'm very happy to report that there is some improvement in Mr. Trim's treatment and his entire situation. As you know, there was severe injury to his both wrist and the lower extremities of his lower part of his upper extremity. There was also a skull fracture. He had injury to the distal part of the femur, which is about the knee. And we're happy to report that he's conscious and stable, not really out of the woods.
Trim is set to be transferred to the high dependency unit soon for further treatment. Samuels said that although he was able to speak to the injured warden, he did not inquire about Sunday's fire at the prison because of his fragile medical state.
Based on the reports that I receive, I'm quite happy. More so knowing that he's conscious, I managed to speak to Mr. Trim as it relates to how he's feeling, and he has given clear indication that there's been significant improvement in terms of his ability to feel and move his hands and so on that were seriously damaged by the cuts that he received. I, however, did not go into seeking any information from Mr. Trim as it relates to what happened on the day, because I believe because of his state of recovery, that might be putting too much pressure on him at this early stage.
The Director of Prisons has committed the necessary support to Trim as he recuperates. Zanil Williams for InfoHub.
Flood-affected farmers in Region 7 and 8 continue to receive support from the government. Minister Sidney Alicock today updated InfoHub on the plans.
Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs Sidney Alicock said today at a media briefing that the flood-affected farmers are receiving assistance via the Civil Defense Commission and his ministry.
We've been sending in like chainsaws, tarpaulins, buckets, things like that, and tools, agricultural tools. The saws is to help them to build back their houses.
The minister said the recent flooding in Region 9 is due to heavy rainfall in the hinterland regions and a backup of the Amazon River.
We continue to gather materials. Some of the farms, it's like within another year before they would be able to have their own farm going again, like 9 months to a year. So we're trying our best to see how we could be able to cope with that situation and help them as much as possible. And as you know, it's not only region 7, 8, and 9, but also region 6. We have a lot of flooding even in region 10. So it's very, very, I should say, tricky, challenging. It's very challenging with the limited resources, but we're doing all that we can at this moment to bring some relief to our people.
When asked if any methods are being put in place to prevent such a disastrous situation in the future, the minister said that as much as the weather cannot be controlled, a better understanding and reading of weather patterns can help farmers be more prepared. Shiloni King, InfoHub.
3 government ministries are working on a white paper that will address the pressing drainage issues across Guyana. Here is more. Minister Ronald Bulkan said that 6 weeks ago, President David Granger entrusted the Ministries of Communities, Public Infrastructure and Agriculture to craft recommendations that will aid in addressing drainage throughout Guyana.
Preliminary paper was prepared by the NDIA and it listed several options. And one option that they favored being one that will allow for an expanded role for the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, the NDIA.
The minister explained that this initiative is necessary since RDCs, NDCs and municipalities do not have the capacity to manage drainage.
I engaged then all of our regional democratic councils, putting the policy paper before them and inviting their responses to any of the options. And all of them have come back to us and said yes, they favor this recommendation or this option. And I think it is clear because they recognize that they don't have the technical skills and they don't have the capacity and they don't have the resources, the machinery and otherwise.
Discussions are continuing and soon several communities will no longer be susceptible to flooding. Residents of Mabaruma will soon have potable water as GWI is currently embarking on a project at Hosororo.
Surface water from the Hosororo Falls will be used for distribution to residents via catchment area. Managing Director of GWI, Dr. Van West Charles, said that it will improve the quality of water and increase the time residents of Mabaruma receive potable water.
Mabaruma presently gets water about 2 to 3 hours a day. This will improve the situation considerably to about 8-9 hours a day. We have the catchment which we're preparing now, the pump station. We have already completed the construction of the reservoir, which is already assembled. And as I said, one of the critical issues is the water quality. So the water quality staff are coming in probably towards the end of this week to look at the best method of treatment for this type of water.
Dr. Van West Charles said that because the water from the catchment area is surface water, it cannot be chlorinated.
The evidence is there about carcinogens and from surface water with chlorine. So we're going to find other means by which we will treat the water to ensure that the water that goes to the town is of a high quality.
Once the project is completed, it will benefit over 700 residents. Only recently, GWI donated 50 jerry cans to 13 communities in Mabaruma to improve the quality of water they consume. Delon Sanko for InfoHub.
In this next Seneca Thorne report, we hear that the Hinterland Employment and Youth Service Program has served as a stepping stone for 2,000 indigenous youths.
Natusha Harris, a 17-year-old indigenous girl from Kabukubari Region 2, is the sole breadwinner of her single-parent family. She is one of the 2,000 who benefited from skills training under the HACE program. Using the skills acquired and $120,000 saved, with an added $50,000 grant, Harris was able to establish her own business. Today, she is a successful entrepreneur.
Upon the completion of the theory component of the HAZE program, I start to accumulate cash for the construction of my own home. Then I bought 30 chickens to practice skills that I have learned in agriculture: concentrated language experience, life skill, capacity building, and catering. Later in March, I start the actual construction of my own little humble home. It is wooden and thatched with tulip palm. I now reside there with my dad, and I am the sole breadwinner of my family.
With the first batch now completed, the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs is embarking on training another 2,000 persons. The second phase of the HAZE was launched today. Minister Sidney Allicock said that while there has been many challenges in the initial stages of the program, the ministry is proud of the outcomes.
We can today celebrate the fact that our young indigenous citizens who benefited from this program thus far are living testimony to the positive outcome of the government's investment. Actually, it is indeed one of the most encouraging investment. It is not seen as an expenditure as such.
Minister Valerie Garrido-Lowe, who have direct responsibility for HAZE, said that the first phase of the program saw 80% of the participants creating their own businesses.
I can tell you from the program, the first cycle of HAZE that ended in May, many of the youths created their own businesses. When you visit some villages, they have butcher shops, they have fuel depots, you have grocery stores, you have catering businesses, all sorts of businesses, farming, producing melons, producing coconut oil, producing everything they can produce.
The sum of $991 million was allocated for the program in the 2017 budget to facilitate the participation of residents of the remaining 100 communities. Sunika Thorne for InfoHub.
We close with good news on a serious issue. Road fatalities are down. Traffic Chief Dion Moore said that there has been a 26% drop. InfoHub spoke with Moore and has the details.
The rate of road traffic accidents in Guyana has declined by 26% in the first half of the year, according to Traffic Chief Dion Moore. Moore says for the period, there were 824 accidents compared to 1,100 in the same period of 2016.
To date, we are at 48 fatal accidents with 51 deaths, as against 64 accidents this time last year with 68 deaths, which shows us that we are at a 25% reduction in terms of deaths and accidents. For the amount of children that would have lost their lives on the road, last year there were 4 this time, and we are now, only 1 child died so far for the year. That shows us that we are at a 75% reduction in the amount of children that are being killed on the road.
Moore added that serious crime has seen a 7%, minor accidents 19%, and damage accidents 34% reduction. Traffic Chief Moore says that the reduction in the various categories is attributed to the various programs that are running simultaneously as a part of the National Road Safety Action Plan 2017-2019.
We have the daily road safety talk still ongoing. We have a once a month radio program on NTN, a once a month law enforcement and where traffic plays a major part.
The National Road Safety Plan was launched on May 3rd and will assist Guyana to reduce road deaths by 50% by 2020. Delon Sanko for InfoHub.
Thanks for watching. Connect with us 24/7 on our website and social media. Goodbye.